Greetings and thank you for joining us at inflation.us for this very special update. The currency wars have begun. Competitive devaluation is evident across the globe. Central bankers in China, Brazil, Russia, Japan, South Korea, and Thailand have all taken steps by injecting large sums of liquidity into the currency markets in an attempt to slow the decline in the value of the US dollar versus their own currencies. Brazil's finance chief recently stated, "We will not sit on the sidelines watching the game while other countries weaken their currencies at the expense of Brazil. We're going to take appropriate measures to stop the real from appreciating." Japan has also been injecting liquidity into the currency markets in order to stimulate exports and weaken the yen versus the dollar. Europe, in order to paper over defaults and stimulate their exports, has been on the same course. And in the United States, in an attempt to revive the dead consumer economy, has spent trillions of dollars with little to show for it. The United States is currently on a path to weaken its currency just to pay its bills. Quantitative easing round number 2 is certainly just around the corner. And what is the result of these currency wars, this competitive devaluation? Massive global inflation. The inevitable result of all of this inflation is price inflation. Currently, commodities like cotton, wheat, and copper are soaring. Starbucks recently stated that they would have no choice but to raise prices to keep up with price inflation in coffee beans. The deflation model is clearly broken. With rising unemployment, record foreclosures, and the risk of global default at crisis point, we should see consumer prices and prices in general contract along with consumer spending. But we're not. American savers have found themselves in a race to the bottom. The US currency has lost 9% against other fiat currencies in the last 4 months. Meanwhile, gold, the ultimate hedge against fiat currencies, is hitting all-time highs. Silver, reestablishing itself as a currency, is now at multi-decade level highs. In our opinion here at inflation.us, quantitative easing number 2 will officially mark in the history books the point of no return.
Do you want to weigh in on gold, so to speak?
Yeah, Joe, I heard what you said at 7 o'clock, but the $5,000, it's not just some pie in the sky forecast. It's actually very simple math. Take M1, which is about $1.5 trillion. It varies a little bit. Take the U.S. gold supply, which is a little over 8,100 tons, metric tons, and just do the division. You come out with a number of about $5,000 an ounce. In other words, when we have the sequential collapse of currencies, paper currencies, and the U.S. has to go to Plan B, which is the gold standard, you have to peg it at a non-deflationary level. The problem with the gold standard in the 1920s was not the gold standard itself. It was that they pegged it at $20 an ounce, which was the pre-World War I price, which was highly deflationary. Pegging it at, say, $50 an ounce in 1925 might have helped prevent the Great Depression. So when we have to go back to gold now, it's really important not to peg it too low. So there's a range depending on how you do the math and whether you want to use M1, M2, but that range is between $5,000 and $11,000 an ounce. So it's not really a forecast. It's simple math, and it's where we'll end up once the dollar collapses.
What do you think, Tim?
Wow. It's amazing to think that that's the number we're talking about.
Won't that be, since there is a relationship to gold and like a barrel of oil or a suit, is it going to be $5,000 to buy a nice suit?
Well, it'll be 1 ounce of gold. That's actually the right way to think about it. I don't think gold is going up. I think gold is fixed. What we're seeing is the collapse of the dollar. And we're actually starting to quote the dollar in terms of units of gold. So right now we're at about 75 ten-thousandths of an ounce. It's like 0.00075, and so you can think of the dollar sort of going from 75 down to 73, down to 70, etc. It's really how many ounces of gold do you get for your dollar? That's the right way to think about it. So this isn't really a rally in gold; it's the collapse of the dollar.
All right, Tim. Thank you. Appreciate that weighing in on both subjects.